Hello students, I am Saroj Singh. I hope you all are fine at home. So today we will start our first chapter of English grammar, and that is sentences. You all must have heard this word many times. I hope that is sentences. What is a sentence? Have you ever thought that actually how a sentence is formed? Well, if no, then we will see today. If I write some words like girl, Rekha, beautiful, is. You can see that I have written some words randomly. When we combine these words as they are written, does it give us any sense? Girl, Rekha, beautiful, is. No. But if I change their place and write these words again, like Rekha is a beautiful girl. So, does it give us a sense now? Rekha is a beautiful girl. Does it? Well, yes, it gives us a proper sense, and it tells us that Rekha is quite beautiful. She is a beautiful girl. So, you can see that when the random words which were placed, when we change their placing and we put these words in a proper structure so that they can give us a proper sense, then it becomes a sentence. Sentence has two more things, that is, first initial is written in capital. Second is, they always end either in full stop or in question mark or in exclamation mark, depending on what type of structure is that. So we will read types now. Well, sentence can be further classified into four types. These four types are, first one is assertive sentences, which are also known as declarative sentences. Second one is interrogative sentences. I hope you have heard this word many times, especially in movies when police interrogates the culprit. You have heard that word. The police is interrogating. So interrogating means basically asking questions. So in interrogative sentences also we have questions. Third one is imperative sentences. And fourth one is exclamatory sentences. Now what these sentences are, you will see. First one is assertive or declarative. What is assertive or declarative sentence? Well, these sentences can be further classified into affirmative sentences, or we can say positive sentences. And second one is negative sentences. So affirmative, assertive or declarative sentences can be further classified into affirmative or positive and negative. You must have heard positive and negative, which is giving you an idea, I am sure. So if I say, if someone asks you that, will you do this work for me? So you can reply this answer in two ways. I will do this work. Either you are ready to do that work and you will give your answer in positive form. So you will say, I will do this work. Second is, maybe you are not ready. Maybe you have some more things to do, like watching TV, maybe, or playing games. So you will say, I will not do this work. So we see the same question, that whether you will do this work can be answered in two ways. That is, I will do this work or I will not do this work. First one is giving us an affirmation. It is telling that the answer is in yes. So this type is basically affirmative. And second one is showing your negation. It is showing that you are not ready to this work. So this is basically negative sentences. So assertive or declarative sentences basically can be answered in positive sense or negative sense, and they are simple statements which we give. Let's come to interrogative sentences. As I have already told you, these are basically questions. When questions are asked, or when questions that you ask someone. These questions are basically of two types, that is yes or no types and WH family questions. Now yes and no questions, what are these? Basically, when questions are asked to you and you can give that answers directly in yes or no. And these questions always start with helping verb. Like if I ask you, will you have an, let's say, ice cream, your favorite, right? Will you have an ice cream? Which you will never say no. Okay, so this question is started with will. So it is a yes or no question. Second is WH family. Whatever question starts with W word or H word, that is what, which, where, when, or how. That is our WH family question. So, what is your name? It is basically asking you a simple question that what is your name. So you will give your answer not simply in yes or no. You will tell the complete name to that person. So it is a WH family question. So when questions are asked, that becomes our interrogative sentences. And two things which they have is, they are either yes or no questions or WH family questions, which will start either with helping verb or WH words. Secondly, they will end with a question mark. So this makes them interrogative sentences. Let's come to a third one, that is imperative sentences. What are imperative sentences? Well, imperative sentences are basically commands or order, you can say, advice, request or suggestion, etc. These things are basically imperative sentences, which shows that what the question basically, what the sentence basically ask or give the idea of, whether it is giving an advice, or it is asking or an advice, or it is a request, or it is simply giving you an order or command. For example, get out. Simply giving you a command to simply get out. Or take your medicines regularly. Now this applies to all, that we should always take our medicines regularly. It is giving an advice. Now please pass me sugar. So you are requesting someone to pass you sugar. Pass me that sugar. So these three type of sentences shows that there is some command, there is some advice, or there is some request. That is get out. You are ordered to get out. Take your medicines regularly, which is an advice, or please pass me sugar, or please pass me that bowl. You can request anything. So these are simply showing that our sentence mood is of either command, advice, request, suggestion, etc. And these are imperative sentences. Okay? And these sentences also end in full stop. Now let's come to our next one, that is exclamatory sentences. And exclamatory sentences show us feelings or emotions. They basically express our feelings or emotions. Now, whenever you see something, whenever you see a scene, or whenever you see something or a person, and you are so amazed or you are so sad that some words automatically came out of your mouth. So those shows us a direct automatic reaction to the things. Like if you went outside and the weather is quite good, there are clouds in the sky in summers, that is. So when you see that weather, automatically what you will say, that what a wonderful weather. What a wonderful weather. So this automatically shows that you are quite amazed to see the weather and you are quite happy. Then we can say how beautiful she is. You see a girl and you are impressed by her beauty. So you will say that how beautiful she is. So these shows your emotions or feelings right at that moment when you express them, or what you are feeling at that moment. And these sentences will end with exclamation mark. You have to remember that in exclamatory sentences, the sentences will always end in exclamation mark. So these are our 4 types of sentences: assertive and declarative, which shows that the statement is either in positive or negative. Then interrogative, which shows that there are simply questions to asked. Then there is imperative, which shows that there is some command, advice, request or suggestion in our sentence. And fourth and lastly, exclamatory sentence, which expresses our feelings or emotions. Now let's come to our next part. I hope you all understood this. 4 types. If you have any problem, go through it again. I'm sure you will understand. Now let's come to next one, and that is our subject and predicate that we will study in sentences. Subject and predicate. Now in sentence, we have another classification, that is subject and predicate. Let's take our first example, that was Rekha is a beautiful girl. This is the sentence we have earlier. So this sentence can be further classified into subject and predicate. First one, subject. What is subject? Subject is basically who does the action or about whom is talked. Whom is talked about, okay? So here in this sentence, about whom we are talking? About whom we are saying that the girl is beautiful? Well, Rekha. Rekha is a beautiful girl. So here, Rekha is a subject. Then there is predicate. What is a predicate? Well, predicate is basically whatever is talked about the subject. Okay? Whatever is talked about the subject or what the or the action, whatever the action done by the subject. Okay? Action done by the subject. That is our predicate. So here what we are talking about Rekha, that she is a beautiful girl. So is a beautiful girl is predicate. Okay? So whatever is talked about the subject or whatever the action is done by the subject, that action is our predicate. It will include all the helping verb, articles, adjective, etc. It will be our complete predicate. Now subject. One thing you have to remember about subject, that it doesn't matter that subject has to be of only one word. It could be of more than one word. It could be of more than one word. Okay? It could be of 2 or 3 or 4 words or any number. One or more words is of subject. Like I say, Rahul and his family went on a vacation. Rahul and his family went on a vacation. Well, here, what is the action of going to the vacation, right? So this is a predicate. Now, who went on vacation? Who went on the vacation? Only Rahul or only his family? No. Both Rahul and his family went on the vacation. His whole family went on the vacation. So this is our subject. Okay. Secondly, it doesn't matter the subject must come in the starting. It could be at the end also. It could be in the middle also. Like let's take an example. If I write Rahul is standing in a corner of the room. Rahul standing in a corner of the room. So, who is standing in the corner of the room? That is Rahul. And so, this is our subject and the remaining part is our predicate. The same sentence can be written a different way. That is, in a corner of the room stood Rahul. In a corner of the room stood Rahul. So, Rahul, here, who is standing in the room? Rahul, but it is placed at the end. Even then it is our subject. So, you see that subject can come in the starting and it can come in the end also or any other place. Then, one more thing about subject is that in imperative sentences. In interrogative and exclamatory sentence, you can know that what is the subject. But in imperative sentence, you always have to remember that in imperative sentences, the subject is always you. Why? Like I said, command, get out. So who will get out? I am talking to you. Okay, you will get out. If I say pass me the sugar, who will pass me the sugar? That you will pass me the sugar. Okay, take your medicines regularly. Whom am I giving advice? To you. So in imperative sentences, the subject is always you. Okay, so these are the things which you have to remember about subject. That subject can be of more than one or more words, and it could be placed at the starting or at the end or in the middle. Secondly, in imperative sentence, subject is always you. Then sentences have one more thing. What is that? That is object. Right now you know that what is sentence, subject and predicate. Now comes to object. What is an object? Well, object is basically one who receives the action. Okay? Subject is who is doing the action or what is talked about. Predicate is basically whatever the action done by the subject. Now object is one who receives the action. जो उस एक्शन को रिसीव करेगा. Like I said, Rahul bought a gift. Rahul bought a gift. See that who is buying the gift? Rahul. So Rahul is what? A subject. Okay. So what he is buying? What he is buying? He is buying a gift. So this gift answer comes after asking which question? What. He asks the question what and it gives us the answer a gift. So this becomes our direct object. Okay. This becomes our direct object, and direct object is always a thing. Okay. Remember that direct object comes when we ask the question word what after verb, and whatever the answer comes of what question word, that is a direct object, and it is always a thing. We can further extend this. We can have only a single object in the sentence, like in this one, Rahul bought a gift. It gives a complete sense. So there is no need to further extend. So it is complete. This shows that we can have one object in a sentence. But if we extend this sentence further, like Rahul bought a gift for Ram. Now we have extended the question. So Rahul bought a gift for Ram. So we will ask the question after for, after preposition. What we will ask? Rahul bought a gift for whom? We ask the question word whom, and what Rahul bought the gift for whom? He bought the gift for Ram. So Ram answer came after when we ask the question word whom. And when we get the answer of question word whom, that becomes an indirect object. And indirect object is always a person. Okay. So a sentence can have a single object, that is it could direct object. It is always a thing, and it comes when you asked after the verb using question word what, and whatever the answer you receive of that question word what, that is a direct object. And a sentence can have both the objects, that is direct and indirect. When you ask question word whom after you preposition, and whatever the answer we receive for this question word, that becomes our indirect object, and it is always a person. I hope you understand the two types of object. Okay. So in this we see that there is subject who does the action, or whatever is talked, who does the action. Okay. Or who is talked about. Predicate is basically whatever is talked about the subject, or whatever the action done by the subject, that is our predicate. And object is basically who receives the action. Okay. जो object is who receives the action, and it is of two types, that is direct and indirect. A direct object gives answer of question word what, and indirect object gives answer of question word whom. Okay. And in this, can you tell me what is predicate? Yes. Predicate is basically this whole. Bought a gift for Ram. Because Rahul is the subject, he is doing what action? He is buying a gift for Ram. So bought a gift for Ram is our whole predicate. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.